Dear Jenny, I'm a 40-year-old widow living in a lovely, rich neighborhood. My husband, rest his soul, was the sweetest man I had ever met. Brought me out of a very painful heartbreak. You see, I am the widow of now 5 husbands, all of whom met their tragic ends very suddenly and left me very tormented. I believed for the longest time I was cursed, seeing their faces strewn in pain and agony even after death. It's gutting for a woman such as myself, especially at such a young age. 40 is by no means an old number. That said, I struggle to find contentment without a companion. I'm a romantic, ever needing love to feel desired and fulfilled in life. Without a man to lead me forward, I feel like stepping back little by little into my own dark corner of the world. I can only assume my obsession with love stemmed from Harry, my first husband. Oh, he was an absolute delight of a man, talented and quick with his fingers as a pianist, but as sweet as honey in every way. He would shower me in gifts and married me quickly, showing me a world of neon lights and modern jazz. I will forever be grateful to him for taking me out of my shell. I thought I would crawl back in when he was found with his head bashed against his prized piano. I almost swore off love, not wanting to fall for the same emotional highs. But then came Sal. He was close to Harry, but was just a business manager, no skills in music. What drew me to him was his strength and cold sternness that made anyone stand at attention. He was dominant, and I felt myself following every direction he gave, because I knew I would be rewarded with kisses and love in the end. I delayed our marriage many times, afraid of the future, until we finally wed 2 years after Harry's death. I was sure Harry would have been proud of me moving on. Unfortunately, Sal didn't move far with me, as I woke up beside his corpse one morning. The coroner expressed it was a massive heart attack induced by concentrated alcoholism. Shame. It took me 2 more years afterward to find my heart again in Dominic. While he didn't speak much, his touch was enough to show a woman just how much she meant to him, and the only woman he would ever touch was me. He worked hard as a construction worker, and would rarely say anything beyond yes and no to his colleagues. But with me, the words "I love you" came out in the gentlest of voices. I knew love was dangerous. I knew I was going to curse him as I had done with Harry and Sal. Yet, even as I told him of their tragic ends, he embraced me and let me know with his body that he was mine no matter what. We married soon after and had a wonderful half of a year, before he was found by his colleagues at a construction site, fallen from a grand height and impaled by a steel rod. Jenny, I felt like jumping from a height myself. 3 men whom I had loved died with pain and anguish on their faces, and I could only live on seeing their faces in my memory like a movie on repeat. I am still maddened by them. Even as I think of George, my 4th husband. I was so afraid of men that it was hard for me to even speak in social environments. Yet I could not bring myself to become a reclusive shut-in, because I knew my 3 previous lovers would never wish that upon me. So when I met George, it was like listening to a record play the same song to enchant me. He was charming, a millionaire investor. He made sure that I knew I had caught his eye, and he did not intend to let me slip away so easily with gifts and chance meetings. I became so torn. While he was aggressive in his pursuits, I found the chase to be too much to lead on. So I let him into my arms and found myself spiraling down another romance. We married within weeks, and I could only count the days until my curse had taken effect. I guess the chase was only fitting, as he was found running off of a cliff, hurling himself to his painful death. Poor George. Now at last, my sweet Joseph. He was truly the man who I believed would save me from this chain of heartache. He was sweet, and oh so meticulous about security within his $1,000,000 mansion. Joseph slaved over running a brilliant company as its CEO, and all he got in return were the snarling, jealous glares of his employees. While my previous poor husbands had fairly happy lives, Joseph was the only one to struggle as I did in life. I thought he would be the cure. 2 tormented hearts bound to one would have been the key to end my suffering and finally find love without the tragic ending. But I should have known better. My husband now lies dead with the most painful look on his face. It's only fair, as the last thing he imagined was his dinner being laced with deadly nightshade. But to see his face, forever formed to one of misery. Jenny, how can I find a man who will happily die for me?